Hey guys, Tom itself here, and I want to spend this commentary talking about, well, I guess multiplayer etiquette? I don't know how else to put it. And I don't really want to get back into the particular incident that really sparked my reason for doing this. Nonetheless, there was one in particular that said, I probably should say something. But in general, you have to ask yourself, what would I do if I wanted to be an ass to this person? And then don't do that. How's that sound for starters? But before I really get into things, I think I should start off with a few comments. I am not a big YouTuber. I have occasionally had people recognize me, but it's not common. And yeah, it's not something I deal with as being a YouTuber. It's more just acquaintances, people I've met who for some reason want to play with me. Also, my motivation for getting on YouTube was not to find people to play with. It was in fact to share my experiences playing with the people who I was already gaming with a wider audience. So, yeah, I'm not really looking to pick up more people to play with, so some people seem really surprised by that, but at least that's the way it is for me. Now, I was thinking, which side should I point this commentary towards, and as you can see, I wound up using Battlefield gameplay, and that's because in Battlefield, it's a lot harder to know what you should be doing, what would be acceptable. In Call of Duty, it's simple. You don't join session in progress unless you know the person is going to be okay with it. Yeah, it's really that simple. Battlefield, it gets quite a bit trickier. So, Call of Duty, yeah, unless you know the person very well you're joining in on, you don't want to do it. It's just not a thing to do. We're going to get into why, but just don't. Oh, and finally, since Black Ops 2 is starting to become a thing, I'll say that if you've got ranked matchmaking, joining in progress isn't an issue. And this actually just comes down to joining parties, which this is even simpler. Parties, sure, join on in, see who's there, see what's going on, be quiet until you figure out what's going on, and then leave if it's not something that involves you. It's really that simple. Try not to get in the way of other people doing things already. If you want to say, just drop in and see what's going on? Sure, why not? Just don't get in the way. I don't think that's too complicated. Because honestly, I don't think that having a party that's just joinable by friends is like an invite, like, hey, come chat with me. It's hey, if you need to get in touch or you want to join in on this, you go ahead and join the party. At least that's how I use it. It's, yeah, join the party, see what's going on, and try to hook up for a game. That's, especially in Modern Warfare, you should just back out after the next game. The worst you're going to have to do is wait 10 minutes, and then you can join up in a team together and go play and have some fun. With my friends, a lot of time I join a party like, hey, is the open slot on your team? If the answer is yes, then yeah, join in. Because you can tell which side it's going to drop new players on because it tries to balance teams. If the answer is no and you join in, well, congratulations, your job is now to throw the game. If you didn't want it to be that way, you shouldn't have joined in. And there's some very annoying things you can do from that position, including taunting your teammates who are in the party chat who were trying to communicate and organize strategy, and suddenly you're in there listening to the other team's callouts and just trying to be annoying, and that's not a very nice thing to do. And if you're not really good friends, if you haven't been playing with someone, sitting on the couch with them, and had the opportunity to look at them and give them a stern look and then punch them in the face because they didn't... Yeah, if you haven't been in that situation with that person before, you probably don't want to be doing that over Xbox Live. Alright, so what about the people who just join sessions in progress, but aren't in the party to be annoying dicks with the chat? Well, in this case, my immediate assumption and conclusion is that the person who's joining it feels like they have something to prove to this acquaintance, that somehow they're good or whatever, and they're not there just to play the game, to have fun, to do well, to try to win, to play with their team, all that good stuff. Instead, they're there because they have something to prove, massive air quotes, and in general I find that completely changes the way people play. Maybe sometimes you see people hunt other people down, and yeah, that's weird and not cool, but at the same time, most of my experience with this is just the most bitch-ass campers you've ever seen, and to the point of it can't be fun for them to play like that, and so it changes the dynamic of the game. It's not fun for anyone, it's just not cool. So joining in with something to prove, especially when it's not a game that you set up and no one really knows what's going on, suddenly you're just like, I have something I must do. It doesn't make any sense, and it's usually really annoying in the end for both people, because you're probably not going to get noticed, and that's what those people are after, is attention. And at least me, it's like, oh, whatever, some guy's being a random screw off, and I really would rather just play the game and have fun. I tend to try and ignore that kind of nonsense. Now, Battlefield. Battlefield changes things up a lot, partly because of all the nasty and annoying bugs, and partly because of custom servers, and then also the games are longer. That changes some things too. So there are a lot more gray areas. In general, if someone's got a party open, I'll hop in and see what's going on before I join their session in progress. But not everyone has parties going, partly because, well, you can't be in a party and also in game chat. You can't change the chat channel, and so, yeah, it's weird. And some people say parties add lag, whatever. And, maybe just play in solo. I play a lot of my Battlefield solo, just because it's easier that way. And, maybe they aren't in the mood for chatting with anyone. In general, in Battlefield, because you can switch teams, you want to try to get on the same team as the person, your friend. Although, again, if it's an acquaintance and not a friend, they might get kind of annoyed if you're constantly joining in on their squad. That might get kind of irritating, as I think you could see. Again, because there's kind of a fine line between this looking for attention and just looking for people to play with and, get game with and have fun. And when you step over the line between stalking and looking for attention, as opposed to just looking for people to play with, it gets really creepy really fast. It's damned annoying. Now, how often you want to be joining people's sessions or their servers? Well, if it's a publicly announced server, I know for quite a while Mass Nerder had a server up, and it was everybody join in. And yeah, the games got pretty intense, the competition was pretty wild, and you saw a lot of familiar faces on both sides, and fully expected to, because that was an advertised server that was like, hey, everybody come here, and this is where we'll be playing a lot of the time. However, if it's a random server or a dice server, and you see people stalking you around, again, that's creepy, looking for attention, and not so cool. Because part of that is it gets really annoying having people follow you around between servers. If they wanted you to join in on a random server, I think they might send an invite. As otherwise, it gets really, really boring playing against the exact same people for hours and hours on end, over days and days. Like, please, just give it a rest. It gets really old. Part of the fun is playing against random people on Xbox Live. So, if you want some competition, there are plenty of places to go to find it, but if you're just looking around through random servers, odds are they're not really interested, or at least I wouldn't be too interested in having random people who know me, who want my attention, joining in on those servers. Well, I guess in conclusion, I would say stalking, not cool. Just send a message if you want someone's attention, and don't just follow them around constantly, because that's creepy. Alright, so going for gameplay. This is something, big YouTubers, people with standards, not myself, have to deal with, and trying to get gameplay that they feel they can post on the internet. And in general, there's nothing different about this. People who join in on the losing side of a beatdown, sadistic and weird. If they wanted a game, they should just go ahead and send a message. Honestly, that would be a better way to set things up. And, if they get ignored, well, too bad. I think the one thing that really starts to nag people, especially the really big YouTubers who have to deal with it a lot, is when people just stay in the game match after match. Call of Duty, well, you can leave between games and just find another one. It's not too hard, although you're probably going to lose the first one because playing solo, you get thrown into games in progress. But in Battlefield, if you have to find a new server, well, that's kind of annoying, because a lot of times if you get a specific rule set you like playing, a specific list of maps and game types, it can be really hard to find another one that's populated that has the same rules. And if someone's just sitting in there in order to play with you game after game for hours on end, it gets really old. And yeah, anyway, those are my thoughts on the whole etiquette stalking thing. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say on the matter, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.